Good. I had a great Mother's Day. I woke up to a hot cup of coffee and a 10-pound box of Sour Patch Kids. And I was in my pajamas until about an hour ago, so it was amazing. I want you to, does everyone have a drink? Everyone's settled? Everyone's got a drink? I encourage you to try the pro-choice martini. Yes. Rachel will mix your drink and hand you the glass and then ask if you would like to keep the olives in there or not. She can do that because it's your right until June. I have 2 kids that I know of. And when you're a parents, you can back me up on this, you have to decide when you have a new baby, am I going to raise this baby to be a good person? Or am I going to raise this baby to be a successful person? They are 2 very different parenting tactics. I have 2 kids. I'm raising one to be a good and ethical person, and the other to be a successful douchebag. We need a hedge fund manager, or a private equity person, or venture capitalist in the family. It's my retirement plan. You might ask, how do you know which one's going to be the douchebag? Oh, they will let you know. They will let you know. My second born did not sleep through the night for 2 fucking years. 2 years. This is a human rights violation, according to the Geneva Convention of the United Nations. You can't treat prisoners of war like this. My son was violating my human rights, hated my way of life. I could not negotiate with him. What I'm saying is my infant son was a terrorist. He was a terrorist. He was the leader of Al-Qaeda. They called it a sleeper cell, but there was no sleeping bag. No sleeping bag. He's the douchebag. I love him. During COVID quarantine, he couldn't play with his friends, so he wanted to play online video games with them. Usually I would say no, but COVID, he couldn't see his friends, so I said fine. So he had to make a screen name for himself, and the screen name he wanted was Sweet Boy 69. He was 11. I'm like, no, you cannot be Sweet Boy 69 on the internet. And he goes, what about Big Boy 69? No, that is not better. Listen, darling, I know your birthday is June the 9th, but you cannot have a screen name on the internet with the number 69 in it because they are all taken. He's now in middle school, and he used to go to private Montessori school. I tried to pay hippies to get the douchebag out of him, and then I recognized the earning potential of douchebaggery, and I'm like, you need to be with your people. Put him in public school, public middle school. And when he first went to public middle school, he goes to the cafeteria, and he asked the cafeteria lady, pardon me, do you have almond milk? Yeah, and he knew he fucked up by the way she looked at him. And so he tried to recover, and he goes, or oat milk. Oat milk's okay too. They had neither. Spoiler alert. I blame myself. I don't know if you can tell. I'm a little bougie. A little bit bougie. I'll give you an example. Before people when people are coming to visit, right before they get to my door, I will run to my guest bathroom. I will go to the garbage can and remove the Walmart shopping bag liner. put a Target bag in there. Fancy, that's why. All right. My daughter, she goes to a high-performing high school. And I know it's high-performing because on every student ID badge, right below the picture, is a phone number for a suicide hotline. Get AIDS or die trying. She loves school and she'll come home all excited about what she learned and she'll tell me in excruciating detail. And sometimes like my mind wanders and she's like, Mom, wait, you're not listening. I'm like, oh my God, so rude, I'm so sorry. Listen, you know how some of your friends have ADHD, right? I have the grown-up version. It's called IDGAF. It's adult onset. Happens when you have kids. I thought it would be fun to tell their origin story. I used to live in New York City. So when I was pregnant with my daughter, she's the firstborn, I thrive in chaos. I don't know if that came across. So a lot of my friends would have a scheduled C-section. I'm like, no, I'm going to throw the dice and let nature take its course. I don't know when this kid is coming, 37 weeks, 42 weeks, who knows, right? So my water broke at 2 in the morning on the 5-year anniversary of September 11th, okay? I go to the hospital, and it is eerily quiet in there, the labor and delivery ward. I'm like, okay, this is weird, but whatever. Have the baby. Before I have the baby, when you are in labor, for those of you who are not mothers, early labor, it feels like a minute of your guts being ripped out with a claw hammer, and then several minutes of calm, all right? This is early labor. Mid-labor is equal times guts being ripped out with a claw hammer and equal time of calm, okay? And then late labor, it's a long period of claw hammer and a couple seconds of calm, all right? So when I got to the mid-labor, like equal periods, I asked the nurse, I said, I need an epidural. And the nurse, who I think is a fucking hippie, she tried to convince me, maybe you should just wait. Maybe you should just wait and try some meditation. And I think I said something to her along the lines of, if you don't get me high right fucking now, I will kill you. So 5 minutes later, a man in scrubs and full sleeve tattoos on both arms appears in my room. And I swear to God, he said his name is Dr. Chill. And he's the anesthesiologist. And now, I'm not a religious person at all, but at that moment, I believed he was an angel from heaven. So he tells me, okay, get up, grip the edge of the bed, and we'll wait for a contraction. When that thing ends, he stuck the needle in, and immediately I felt this warm rush over me. It was like when you take ecstasy and it finally kicks in. Man, I wanted a strobe light and some house music so badly. So, 17 and a half hours of labor, my daughter was born. And I know it was 17 and a half hours because the hospital told me at 17 hours, if you don't push this kid out, we have to cut it out of you at 18 hours. Because their insurance underwriters made that rule. Isn't that nice? So I pushed the kid out, 17 and a half hours of labor, my daughter's born. I need to mention that in these hospitals, to get a private recovery room, you need to get on a list because they only have 6 of them. There was no one else delivering that night, so I got a private room. I'm like, that's cool. At 12:01, September 12th, fucking chaos ensues. An avalanche of women race into the hospital with babies coming out of their vaginas. They are delivering babies in the parking garage. They are delivering babies in the elevator. They are delivering babies as they're checking in at the reception desk. These New York women did not want their kids born on September 11th. So my daughter came into this world calm and drama-free, and that's how she remains. I am very lucky. All right, I have an origin story for my son, too. I was still in New York. He was, again, in the morning, not 2 in the morning, it's like 10, water breaks. Now, that morning, there was a half marathon, and the cops coned off the streets between where I lived and the delivering hospital. So I'm like trying to get through, and the cops politely suggested I take a very long detour, to which I politely suggested I drop my fucking pants and let them deliver this baby on the sidewalk. And you know a funny thing happened? They stopped the marathon and they let me go through it. It was a charity marathon, it didn't matter who won. This was not September 11th, so this hospital was chaos. I went to the check-in desk and said, I'd like to get on the list for a private room. And the nurse said, okay, but like, we only have 6 of them, and there's a dozen women on this list already, and they've been here hours before you, and it is firstborn, first served, so good luck with that. Like, all right, well, I still want my name on the list. We go into the delivery room. 2.5 hours later, the kid shoots out of me. I guess his sister plowed the drive for him. Shoots out of me. I got a private room. He's a useful douchebag. That's his origin